everyone. We've got Mark and Russ here from defendmybusiness.com. Wanted to do a little bit of a series, some checklist series about the different things our customers and potential customers experience. And today we're going to talk about PCI DSS compliance and a checklist. This is going to be available on the website for you guys to review. If there's ever anything that you're not sure about, or you're looking for solutions to kind of meet the PCI DSS compliance, based on the checklist, we're here to help. That's what we do. Making sure businesses are protected, getting them set up with the services they need. So Mark and I here wanted to do just a little review on this before it's on the website, so that when you navigate to the site, link will be in the description. You can check this, make sure you guys are compliant, and everything's good to go. So with that being said, Mark, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Russ. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I mean, obviously, a lot of people get quite overwhelmed by this, and it's kind of nice to just be able to have a quick chat and really make it easier for people to understand it. Especially in the industry right now with insurance, everyone's kind of pointing to different insurance policies, and people are realizing now that they have to do all of these hurdles or hoops to jump through in order to get things done. And PCI compliance is definitely one of them.
And it can be, as it kind of states here, it can be kind of confusing. Where does one thing start and one thing end? And a lot of these do cross over, which is nice. So, if you've got a firewall for your business anyways, well, that helps with PCI compliance. So there's a lot of the things that we're going to cover here that may already be items that you have, or you've essentially checked that box off, but there might be some gaps that you're missing and you don't know you're missing. And these are the things that we can help you with. So with that, why don't we dive in? So as our checklist covers here, the reasons for it, why PCI DSS, what is the story behind these rules? And really, it came down to credit card fraud. The big credit card companies, they're liable, right? They're lending money, they're allowing you to make purchases online, but that also makes it easy for those bad people to get that information and have fraud. So really came down to protecting them as well as protecting us as consumers. So when we're going into a store or making a purchase online, we want to make sure our information isn't getting stolen. So really it comes down to protecting, obviously big business with the credit card companies, but also us and our information, and that it's not getting out there and getting used. And I have personal experience with credit card fraud or credit fraud. So these are absolutely something that any one of us could experience at any time in our life. And that's why it's very crucial for businesses to make sure they are PCI compliant.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you think about how everyone's customers are, paying for services now, I mean, people don't even accept cash anymore.
Yeah.
So like you look at obviously paying on your phone, tapping, all of these ways to pay for services. Even like the smallest corner store, if they don't have those solutions, they lose a customer. And so it's quite interesting because it doesn't matter if you're, in this state, like a level 1 PCI compliant, where you're doing over 6 million transactions a month, or 20,000 or less, which is like the level 4 term. You need to have some sort of way to protect your clients, your customers, and you have to realize that the evolution of how business is done, how transactions are done, is changing, and everyone notices, right?
People will not do business if they lose trust in you.
Yeah,
you're going to lose that business. Yes, you can earn it back over time, but it's better to not lose it and have to earn it back than to just maintain and keep it. So, those are some of the biggest things, and that's what it mentions here. What if you ignore it? Well, you're going to lose that trust. You're going to be maybe fined, if depending on the type of business you're in. Costs go up. Your business is going to suffer with loss of trust, loss of orders, and it could be catastrophic. So you just want to make sure that you are following it, that you are compliant, and mitigating that risk. And in IT and in our space, mitigating risk, removing risk as much as you can, that's kind of the big thing. It's the less risk you have, the less chance things are going to happen. And that's why we're going to start doing more of these discussions, is what are those risks? And this is one of them.
Yeah, definitely.
So talking about the different levels, as you can see, level 1 through level 4, top security level. So this is you're a larger business doing a lot of transactions. You're audited, you're doing certain security checks, all that stuff. Level is a strong security level. You're doing 1 to 6 million payments. It's still very strict. There are some yearly things that you have to do, some monthly, well, quarterly scans that you have to do. It's less strict, but very important. Level 3, security for growing businesses. So you are a smaller business. You are doing online payments. Um, you still have the yearly quiz, quarterly scans, and then your security for online growth. So when you're expanding, changing platforms, growing platforms, how are you making sure your data is protected, secured, and that it's not being accessed remotely? And then level 4, security for small businesses. So, smaller 20,000 online payments, less than a million total. Um, you have your yearly quiz still. The odd scans, you just have to check with who you're using. So with your bank, how often they require it. And then, obviously everybody needs to be PCI compliant in order to do business. So it
Yeah,
is
I mean,
still about
obviously,
that.
we're helping a lot more of our business customers in level 3 and 4. I mean, if you look at level 4 at 20,000 online payments, that's only 600 to 700 payments a day.
Mhm.
Um, most businesses that we're chatting with, like, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's normal to us. Like, that's what we're doing." So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, these are the people that definitely need the help a little bit more than the level 1s and 2s,
Mhm.
because they're really on it, and insurance brokers are kind of hammering on the level 1s and 2s, but the level 3s and 4s are the people that, like, we definitely can help out on a regular basis.
Absolutely. And with that, I mean, diving into the different steps that you can kind of go through the checklist to make sure you're protected. These are all things, if you have an IT company, a lot of these will be crossover just with general IT, such as number 1, firewall. Some of the things we'll talk about here might be specific and may not apply to you, but for the most part, everything here is going to apply to everybody, and there's things you should think about. But those of you working with IT companies today, some of these things will cross over. So it's all good if you're protected. The more you're protected, the better. But starting with item 1, firewalls. So really, that is what comes in from the outside into your internal network. So, Mark, I mean, we've worked in this space for a long time. Most carriers, most businesses will have a solution. If you don't have a firewall, if you're unsure, reach out to our team. You could let us know what they've installed, um, who you're working with, and we can provide some information, or at least help guide you. But this is the basic thing that you're going to probably need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty standard. Every business that has some form of network should have a firewall. If you have a physical location, at least, um, that's the bare minimum.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it seems like it's standard these days, and there's obviously, over the top. Depending on what kind of business you're running, is kind of which way the security
Mhm.
direction will go. But yes, everyone should have a firewall.
Yeah. Number 2, I mean, this may sound basic, but you'd be surprised how many people have the 1, 2, 3, 4 password still set, or password as their password, the most common ones, and they are hacked every second of every day. They know where to go, which devices by default come with the default password, what those passwords are. So change them as soon as you get new equipment. Change the default passwords. Log in as the admin. Put everything to a custom password, preferably multi-number, letter, character. Longer the better. I have in my own head a little formula I use for my different passwords that I change frequently to make sure they're secure. I mean, an easy password to hack, especially with technologies these days. It's becoming faster and easier to run that stuff. So the longer the password, the harder it is to track.
Yeah, I know how annoying it is to all of our customers, and people about changing passwords all the time, and when you work at corporations and they make you do it, but it's done for a reason. I mean, one of the main reasons why people get hacked is because of user error. Um, one thing that I tell everyone is, like, it's okay on your social media platforms to have a standard password, but don't make that the same as anything that's, like, that you need to secure. And anything within your own business, have it completely different. You can have an easy password on the social media if you don't really care about it, but don't have it have anything to do with your business. Have the business be the complicated one.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. So then moving on, encrypt stored data. Actually, the 2, 3, and 4 both encryption. So stored data on your infrastructure. So within your own network, make sure it is encrypted. If you need solutions for that, we can provide them. And then encrypt data online, same thing. So if you're cloud operating, make sure everything's encrypted. And most, businesses that are doing that encrypt everything, but those are things you need to check. Who are you working with? How are they doing it? What are they encrypting with? If it's you, how are you encrypting it, and making sure that you're done or you've done it correctly. So those both, store data as well as online data, make sure it's encrypted. Somebody gets in a database somehow, again, going back to the passwords. If it's not encrypted, it's out there. It's been captured and people are using it somewhere for bad reason. The next one, antivirus. We have access to a lot of those. Most computers come with some form of solution today anyways, but definitely make sure it's always up to date. If you're not sure you have a good one, reach out to us. We'll get you the best of the best. But malware, clicking the wrong email, wrong link in an email, it's going to block that so you don't get them. But if you do, it's going to advise, okay, this is a bad link, or quarantine things. So absolutely crucial to make sure you have some form of antivirus.
Definitely.
Secure systems, fix software holes. So all those stupid updates we get all the time, there's a reason for those. Those updates patch those holes. So if you're a custom developer, you're constantly having to patch holes, find holes. But if you're running software, make sure you're always updating it when it's not up to date. There's a hole, something that somebody can exploit, and it's been patched. If you haven't updated, just leaves you open.
Yeah. I mean, there are call centers upon call centers that are all they're doing every day is just to try to hack your system and try to, find a way to prevent, or not prevent fraud, but provide fraud. So, yeah, it's definitely the patch is always a key for all of the services.
Absolutely. Limiting data access. So it's really highly sensitive, secure data. Only the people that need it to have access to it should have access to it. Nobody else. Again, usually the weak point in an organization is the people. So we're curious, we see links and emails, we want to click things, we want to do things, we want to be helpful. Somebody sends us an email and they need help. Now, if we have access to key things and maybe we shouldn't, or we're not the right person to, and we fall for one of those, that's social engineering. All of a sudden, because of that, I now have provided access potentially to certain data that those people want to get. So by limiting it to only the people that need to have access to it, that's going to help prevent the wrong people from getting in. Unique IDs, know who does what. So that kind of goes in with limiting access. So also identifying who has access to something. So making sure that you know who, what, when, where, time, all those things, so you can identify, okay, it was, was it actually this person? No, they weren't in the office, they were at home, and it's showing that it came from this. They identified they weren't online. That was the incident. So being able to have unique IDs to track that, also critical. Physical security, well, leaving your laptop open with sensitive information while you're at Starbucks, another good idea. So lock down those areas. That's why data centers, for anybody watching this, we've been to a number of data centers, highly secure. They've got, weight pressure sensors, so you can't sneak somebody in. You have to go through multiple security checks to get in. So even in your offices, making sure that people aren't allowed in that aren't allowed in. You can't just walk in and steal information or grab a laptop off of somebody's desk and now you have access to something. So that's also critical. For those of you working in large businesses, most of them in the tower, like what we used to work in, was card access only with security guards and very limited on who you can bring in, sign out. Very critical as well. Monitoring the access, same thing, kind of goes back to the unique IDs, just monitoring all of that, There are security monitoring or SIEM tools that we can provide as well. If you're unsure or want something, reach out to us. We can provide solutions for that. Regular security checks and tests. Absolutely. Pen testing. We have a number of groups and tools that we can use with our partners to provide that for you. So, if you have a team that does it regularly, but you might want an outside team or a group that specializes in that just to test, double check, and make sure everything's good, let us know. But that should be something that's regularly done. Where are those gaps? Are there any? And then, reporting back and patching. Having a security policy. So everybody should know what the security policy is within the organization. So if it's, and an example we've seen is, somebody got an email that was in finance to pay an invoice and, panicked and paid, and it was to somebody that was doing phishing. So being able to have rules around that and policies around, well, if it's this, you need to check with, this group or this team or whatever, if there's any kind of concern or uncertainty about what's going on. So having those set up, covering all the points and making sure all the staff understand that, that's going to be key. Again, something that we can provide with training with staff on how to understand the policies, follow the policies, what are the reasons there are policies, and all of that stuff. Those are things. And if you need to actually help developing them, again, we have teams that are groups, vendors that can provide that as well. Stronger access control kind of goes in with physical security and monitoring access, just making sure that all those things are being covered, extra checks, making sure that even role-based, you have access to certain floors for only certain people. So just the stronger the access control and extra security layers, the better. And then finally, vendor security. So check those outside partners, ask them, are you maintaining your PCI compliance? What do you have for, solutions that you're using, for issues you're having? Have you gone through the training? Just making sure those partners of yours are also doing their due diligence. Maybe it's a third party that got hacked and somehow, they had access into something of yours. Making sure that all of those things are covered by them as well. That's very crucial.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the main thing with all of these is that, we have so many suppliers and vendors that can support you. And it's really just finding the direction of what your business needs and who might be the best fit for you. These can get overly complicated, even, just you and I chatting about them. This is a great checklist and it's good to have, and people ask the questions, but you don't need to know all the answers. You can kind of reach out and have a conversation with us.
Exactly. So yeah, head on over to the website to go through that checklist. There's more information, some question and answers, things that you can check through that. This will be live on the website. So we're here to help. So reach out to us. We know this industry, but not only that, we have vendors to support you, a long list of them. They're all great at what they do. They're going to help you with these solutions, making sure that you are PCI compliant, protected, your teams have been trained, all of that fun stuff. We're here to help. So reach out to us, defendmybusiness.com, and we're here to help you out.
Yeah, excited for your call.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.